This is in Africa, the city center of Addis Ababa here in Ethiopia. Addis Ababa, capital and largest city of Ethiopia. It is located on a well-watered plateau surrounded by hills and mountains in the geographic center of the country. Since the late 19th century has Addis Ababa been the capital of the Ethiopian state. Its immediate predecessor, Entoto, was situated on a high tableland and was found to be unsatisfactory because of extreme cold and an acute shortage of firewood. The Empress Taitu, wife of Emperor Menelek II, reigned 1889 to 1913, persuaded the emperor to build a house near the hot springs at the foot of the tableland and to grant land in the area to members of the nobility. The city was thus founded in 1887 and was named Addis Ababa New Flower by the Empress. In its first years, the city was more like a military encampment than a town. The central focus was the emperor's palace, which was surrounded by the dwellings of his troops and of his innumerable retainers. As the population increased, firewood became scarce. In 1905, a large number of eucalyptus trees were imported from Australia. The trees spread and provided a forest cover for the city. Addis Ababa was the capital of Italian East Africa from 1936 to 1941. Modern stone houses were built during this period, particularly in the areas of European residents, and many roads were paved. Other innovations included the establishment of a water reservoir at Kifarsa to the west and the building of a hydroelectric station at Akaki to the south. There were only limited changes in Addis Ababa between 1941 and 1960, but development has been impressive since then. Addis Ababa is the educational and administrative center of Ethiopia. It is the site of Addis Ababa University 1950 and contains several teacher training colleges and technical schools. Also located in the city are the Museum of the Institute of Ethiopian Studies and the Yard School of Music, both of which are operated by the university, the National Library, and Archives. Palaces of former emperors and government ministries. Several international organizations have their headquarters in the city, notably the African Union and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the latter of which is located in Africa Hall. Addis Ababa's manufacturers include textiles, shoes, food, beverages, wood products, plastics, and chemical products. Most of Ethiopia's service industries are also located in the city. Banking and insurance services are concentrated in Addis Ababa, and the nation's major newspapers are published there. The bulk of the export and import trade of Ethiopia is channeled through Addis Ababa on its way to or from the ports of Djibouti, on the Gulf of Aden or Aseb, Eritrea, on the Red Sea. The city is also the collection and distribution center for much of the country's internal trade. The Mercado, located in the western part of the city, is one of the largest open-air markets in Africa. The Piazza in the central city and Bull Road to the southeast feature more expensive European-style shopping centers. Addis Ababa is the hub of the nation's transportation network. Several roads connected to other major cities. The only railway runs to Djibouti. The city is served by an international airport. Formally designated recreational areas are limited, but there are many open spaces suitable for recreational purposes. A small zoo is located in a park near the university, and the lake region, which is a short drive to the south, has facilities for boating, water skiing, bathing, and bird watching. The most popular spectator sport is football soccer. Basketball, volleyball, and other sports are also played, chiefly by school teams. Ethiopia is one of the world's oldest countries, its territorial extent having varied over the millennia of its existence. In ancient times it remained centered on Axum, an imperial capital located in the northern part of the modern state, about 100 miles 160 kilometers from the Red Sea coast. The present territory was consolidated during the 19th and 20th centuries as European powers encroached into Ethiopia's historical domain. Ethiopia became prominent in modern world affairs first in 1896, when it defeated colonial Italy in the Battle of Adwa, and again in 1935-36, when it was invaded and occupied by fascist Italy. In the Battle of Adwa, and again in 1935-36, when it was invaded and occupied by fascist Italy. Liberation during World War II by the Allied powers set the stage for Ethiopia to play a more prominent role in world affairs. Ethiopia was among the first independent nations to sign the Charter of the United Nations, and it gave moral and material support to the decolonization of Africa and to the growth of Pan-African cooperation. These efforts culminated in the establishment of the Organization of African Unity since 2002, the African Union and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, both of which have their headquarters in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is worth to visit and experience the African style.